Hello everybody, I'm Walter Richards from DaGameTrain. Merry fucking Christmas. Let's finish up F.E.A.R trilogy with F.E.A.R Nightmare. The last game of the trilogy, and I think it's a good idea that they stopped here. The game did include a few things, not too much, nothing near as much as F.E.A.R 2, but it did make some stupid ideas here and there. Again, not too many. And it's a good place to stop, because if we went any further, the law of sequels would have finally kicked in and killed them off pretty hard. So we're still playing as Thomas Warden, the history researcher, and here we're reminiscing what happened. Grimlock was bamboozled with his dark bacteria. Thomas's daughter Helen Warden had autism and dark bacteria. Was found in the forest behind the secret monastery of dark monks. Now we're just looking to find a cure. But it all seems very desperate. Oh sure. That's what they all say. First things first, we're starting off with a credit. Cause why the fuck not? Nobody's ever looking at the credits in the previous two games. Might as well show them off right now. It's not that there's a whole lot to see. Plus the character needs to go to the plot. So whatever ways would you suggest to drag this out for a bit? The same people are still working on this, which is good. I think they are all the same people. I'm not noticing any differences. Oh shit, what was that? A harp? Why should I help a dark monk? I might be able to help your daughter. Ah, that good bacteria. She will turn into a monster if you don't make the antidote. Do you have it? No. You need to find 4 ingredients to make one. But for some fucking reason, since you let this guy out, who was probably locked up here by the Dark Monk Brotherhood, the Dark Monk Brotherhood is gonna help you now. I'm not sure how this works, but who cares? This is the hub list, let's say. It's kinda like a hub world, but it's text-based. You can choose where you wanna go, whenever you actually have the choice to go. This might sound crazy, but when the cell phone appears on the screen, press one of the flashing buttons. It sure does sound crazy, but you gotta press them anyway. Impressive. You want us to guide you through new situations. That's a question. Do you want a tutorial? In a nicer way. Which is a good change here, because the previous two games had short but forced tutorials. You had to go through them. They weren't bad, but some people might actually feel triggered by them, which makes me wonder what the fuck is wrong with them. But still, having an optional tutorial is always good. What we also have is another playable character, as you can clearly see. Helen Warden. Yeah, we're now playing as the dad and the daughter. Pretty cool, huh? Except this time there's also a slight difference. Since Helen caught that dark bacteria a while ago, she is now sensitive to light. Which means light kills the bitch. So gotta be careful with that. It's kinda like Thomas and his fear of the dark. If he steps into the dark, he gets shanked. Well, that's the same with Helen. If she steps into the light, she gets shanked. No idea who shanks her, but she does get shanked. So try not to get shanked. Avoid the light with Helen, and avoid the dark with Thomas. This is also a perfect opportunity to shoehorn some collectibles, because putrid muffins didn't catch anyone's attention. We now have history scrolls. These determine one chunk of the ending that you can get in this game. There's two different chunks. One determines what the fuck happens to Helen, the other one determines what happens to Thomas. I made a slight jump, as you can clearly see. The two chunks are not really connected to one another, but it's always nice when they are related to one another. You know, I always wanted to see one of these doors in the forest, these exit doors, because when you get lost in the forest, you really want to get the fuck out. This time around, we have a rating system for some fucking reason. I have no idea why. I honestly think the rating system was a terrible idea because I have no fucking clue how it works. It always gives me the shittiest grades no matter how well I do. Only once have I been able to get an A, and only on one stinking level, and I still don't know what I did different. Is it time based? Is it based on score? I don't know, because there is no timer, and there's sure as fuck ain't no score. Well, except on this one other place, but they'll get to it eventually. So we picked up a monster ability. It allows us to crawl under fences. I'm not sure how is it a monster ability, but whatever. We can handle it. Helen can now crawl under fences. A good thing is that you can crawl under the fences with something being carried at the same time, so you can pick up a flashlight like I did there and carry it under the fence. Pretty good. Do keep in mind that even though the fence has a pretty big hole in it, you can't shine any light through it. I'm guessing it's just technical limitations and they just couldn't be bothered to fix it up properly. Not that it's a big deal, mind you, but still. If they were going to make lights go through giant boulders, they might as well make it go through fences. A good old trick of running through the light or dark, if it's just a couple of blocks, like a couple of steps wide, is still functional. You can still avoid getting hit if you move fast through these very narrow danger spots. Oh, I'm not sure if this was in any other game before, but now you have some stones to throw around. You can use them kinda like boxes actually, except that they are smaller and they can be thrown about 3 steps distance. Oh, look at this. Ooh, spooky as shit. If you step on a corpse, a skeleton pops out. How am I gonna sleep at night now? I have no idea. But anyway, the stone can be used to... well, it can be used to turn on or off switches. You can also use it on the pressure plates. Right, let's push this box. There is no other use for stones as far as I know. You can't really kill anything with it. And well, I don't really know. I think that's all there is to the stone. Although it is kinda useful to have more than just one, because then you can abuse the pressure plates and other parts of the puzzles. Alright, more plot. The monks want the antidote as well, because for some fucking reason they have a bacteria but don't know how to kill it. Luckily for us, Susan Warden, the wife that died in the first game because Helen ripped her fucking face off, managed to find a way to cure the bacteria and write it down in the documents which we found on her grave in the second game. So all the games are pretty much connected to one another. That's pretty cool. Not often do you get sequels that are connected to one another story-wise, but when you do, they're usually pretty good. You survived. Yes, you did indeed. Fucking F's everywhere. Oh shit, a spider. Here comes the boss. Do you need a hint? No. No, cause I'm gonna be the hint this time around. Here's a giant fucking spider. He spits shit at you. But don't worry, he's not very dangerous. Throw the rocks over to Helen's side, and throw one rock at a time to the spider's head. When he turns around, use the torch to set his brain on fire. And repeat, until he dies. He's one of the easiest bosses around here. And as far as I know, you do not have to worry about monsters in the dark. You still have to worry about the light hitting Helen too hard because, well, she's considered kind of like the dark monster, only still human. Bleh. My fucking mouth doesn't want to work. Alright, so we found one of the ingredients and we killed the spider boss. Thomas is impatient and then he slits his throat and the skeleton pops. What? Okay, the thing is, we were supposed to show him that he just drops down because he is poisoned or some bullshit like that. Nobody even bited his ass or anything. But for some reason we're using a graphic where it's clearly seen that his throat is cut wide open and he's fucking dead. We could have gotten a different sprite for that, but whatever. So the monks gave Thomas the root of Grim Oak, which is basically just a shitty fucking aspirin which doesn't work too well. It's a very bad medicine, because even though it cured this poison which he got out of fucking nowhere, it also freed his mind from delusions and whatever, and now dreams and reality can mix up in his fucking brain. You might think it's bad. Well, it is, but who cares, as long as you have something to do. Right, we got another monster ability. Now Helen has superhuman strength. She can purge boulders. Which makes you wonder, why the fuck can't the monsters just break the fuck out of here when they get attacked with the torches? The fuck? Let's make a slight jump cut. I fucked around here for a bit. The big boulder allows you to block light. It's tall enough for that, apparently. Which is good. But don't worry, you will not see the damn thing used too often. I think there's only about 2 or 3 instances where the big boulder actually appears. And when it does, you will need to use it. And that's it, really. The mirrors make a return, and it's good actually, cause I like the mirrors better than the fucking candles. Speaking of which, they removed the fucking candles. Hells yeah, motherfucker. The candles sucked major league dick. You would walk a couple of steps and they would just burn out, and they would leave you in the dark. They were shitty, and it's a good thing that they have been removed. They sucked. They only lasted for 1 game, which is terrible. You would think that adding a new object to something like this would make it last for a little while. But no, the candle just sucked that much. There was absolutely no reason to have it. What we do get is some light sensors. They only activate various doors or whatever they're holding down, and there's some light. It doesn't matter how much, as long as it's light. There is a way to get this shit done correctly, but I never know how. I just don't have enough light sources for this. I think there's a way to get a mirror from the beginning of the game over there, but I never managed to do it. And to tell you the truth, I don't give a shit. Helen and Warden Helen and Thomas Warden, I mean, got separated. Now they need to find themselves. This level can be a bit of a bitch, but not because it's difficult, but because it has a slight gimmick. You see, the two bastards got separated, right? Well, you need to get them close together, and by that they actually need to be in like invisible range of one another. They need to see each other. Once they do that, the level ends automatically. Now, if you paid close attention, which you probably didn't, you would have noticed that there's an ingredient waiting in this level. You can see it right now. It's up top. Yeah, it's in a place that's a little inconvenient because the room where Warden is right now is where you'll end the level. That's where Helen will usually end up a while later. So you gotta make sure that you get the ingredient before the two bastards meet up, or else you will have to return to this level again, and it sucks. But first, how about we do something completely unrelated and play Emperor Bong, the shittiest of all Pong games. This isn't really interesting actually. I mean, Pong is a pretty good game. Yes, it deserves the praise, I suppose. But this is just lame. They keep spawning balls all the fucking time. Eventually, the balls will go through the enemy paddle, but come on now. This could have been made a lot better if the paddle wasn't that aggressive in defense. It won't let anything past unless it gets fooled by its own programming. Luckily for you, this version of Bong happens to have a reset button, and a quit button too. You don't need to go to the fucking menu just to escape. But I forgot what it is, I'm sorry. I think it's one of the buttons that you never use, like 0 or the other ones. I forget what they are. Asterisk and some other one, hash, whatever it is. It's the one that looks like a bunch of bars. You know what I mean. You found each other. Great! Look at that, I actually got an A rank on sewer level 1. Too bad. I will never get that A. Ever. Again. I'll catch you next time on part 2 of Darkest Fear Free Nightmare.